Welcome to the podcast of Torres Consulting.
Welcome to another episode of the Torres Hospitality Consulting podcast. I have the pleasure today of having Francine Heywood from OTA Insight, which has a very long career in the hospitality industry, marketing, sales, you name it, she's done it. But didn't start within the industry, studied maths and computing. So I think it's a very good start to go from there and how her career has been evolving, touching different points up to her current role on OTA Insight. So Francine, first of all, thank you very much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be joining you, on such a great podcast.
Thank you. So as always, I want to start from the beginning. So I'd like to know, for people listening, how did your career start and how you went from those studies to the hospitality world?
Okay, well, my first job really was as a computer programmer. So on an IBM mainframe in assembler code. Very old technology, but if you think about the systems that are used in banks and government, the big processing systems, that was me. From there, I moved into a post-sales role, so doing customer support, customer success, then into a pre-sales role, providing technical support to the sales team. And I think as a lot of technical people think, you see people selling and it looks easy. So I thought, well, I can do that. So I moved into sales, and at the time I was working for Computer Associates. This was back in the 90s. They were one of the largest, if not the largest, software companies in the world, competing with IBM, and worked my way up from telesales to an enterprise sales account manager and became their top salesperson globally. After leaving CA, I joined Micromuse. So I went from a big company to a small startup. Again, on the technical side, they did network management aimed at the telecoms and internet service provider sector. I did that for a few years and then thought it's time to invest in me a little bit. So I resigned and did a full-time MBA at Cranfield School of Management. So I immersed myself back into education for a year, which was just the most amazing experience. Came out of there thinking I wasn't sure what I wanted to do next. So I started doing some consulting, but also took the opportunity to fulfill one of my passions, which is film production. I love films. So I've actually produced a number of short films and an award-winning feature-length documentary film called Sons of Cuba, which won awards around the world. And, I still do that. It doesn't pay the bills. So films are a passion project, but it's something I love to do. From the consultancy, it led me into co-founding GuestRevu, which was an online guest feedback and reputation management company back in 2012. And then from there, I joined OTA Insight last year as regional sales manager, looking after our EMEA sales operations, or part of them anyway. I think when I look back at my career, going from technology and maths and computing into hospitality, I think I'm incredibly fortunate. Hospitality as a sector is unique. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like the warmth that you find with the people, the care, the relationships. That makes it special. And maths and computing are great, but they don't have the same buzz. And I think I was very fortunate. I had some really good mentors early on. When I moved into hospitality, George Westwell, who was just retired, he was the CEO of Cheval Service Apartments, and Diane Scott, who originally was at Lloyds Bank doing lending into the hotel space, led that division, and then worked as a consultant for Cattons, a law firm in London. Both of those people were just wonderful in helping me to learn the industry, navigate around, build those relationships. And I think without them, I couldn't have got where I am today.
Oh, well, career, yeah. Touching different industries and going from, at the end of the day, you're going back to technology in a way, because OTA Insight is really on the high end of technology. So obviously it helps you a lot, all your background.
Yeah, it's the best of both worlds, isn't it? When you can get that technology and you can get the hospitality and put them together. And, ultimately technology on its own is pretty dull. It's but it's what people do with technology, how it changes their business. That becomes the exciting bit.
And now you are regional manager for OTA Insight. So what does it mean on a daily basis? What does it entail?
A bit of everything. Every single day is different. So the team that I work with, we look after Southern and Eastern Europe. So you think from Estonia around through to Portugal, not including France or Arabic-speaking Middle East, but that's me. So I'm learning about doing business in Russia. I'm learning about, hospitality in Greece or in Croatia or Turkey or Spain. It's like a different business in every single region, and some just fantastic hotels and properties that we work with. So yes, every day is different, but I'm fortunate enough, within my team, we've got an amazing group of salespeople, but also, as you know, within OTA Insight, we've got some incredibly smart technical people, which enables us to create and deliver the technology that we do that our customers love.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you have this technology background, and you're saying you feel fortunate to be in the hospitality industry because of the connection with people. So what is it you enjoy the most on your role?
I think it is talking with people, but it's helping people to use technology to make their businesses more successful, to change the way that they do things, to be smarter. If a hotel uses technology right, that frees up so much time that could be then spent with guests rather than behind a screen, behind a spreadsheet. And that's what our industry is about.
True. And the current pandemic, what it's doing in a way, one of the positives is like driving digitalization. So more and more hotels are embracing digital technologies such as yours. Is it a lot of teaching from your side, from your team, for them to understand what it means, or are they more proactive reaching you?
I think it's a combination. It depends on the region. So, some areas are better educated in terms of using technology. Perhaps the teams have worked in different hotels. Others, in maybe smaller leisure destinations, haven't really utilized technology in the past to the full capacity that they could. But I think we're seeing more and more hotels adopt. Typically hoteliers now are trying to do more with less people. And as they build their businesses back up, they haven't got the resources that they had, this time last year even. And so they're trying to figure out, how do they become successful with less technology or with less people, and technology is a part of that. I think the other thing is that we know there's a finite pie in terms of guests. It's a different pie. It's, not the same guests as you had this time last year, particularly if you were focused on business. It's not the same comp set because consumer behavior has changed. We're looking at different hotels now, or service departments or apart hotels. And to try as a hotelier to get a handle on all of that is incredibly difficult. You can only do that with technology.
Challenge is like historically, hospitality industry is not famous for either investing much on technology or training, which can be a challenge, right? When you have to go from the old-fashioned Excel to technology such as yours. So hard time maybe for your team to train them and make them understand?
It can be hard. It can be hard, for hoteliers who are new to technology. One of the things I think we do really well is we make our technology intuitive and easy to use, and we spend a lot of time helping clients to use it. And I think, if you talk to our customers, the way that our business model works with that focus on them, enables them to maximize the return that they get on their investment in technology, and gives them a high level of customer satisfaction. But I think, when I look at technology across the industry, I think there's reasons that hotels are slow to adapt. I think as hospitality people, they're more interested in other people and not computers and not technology. They want to be talking to people. They want to be providing great guest experiences. If you compare hotels with, say, airlines are great at technology. but you feel like you're being processed. You go from gate to plane, here's your ticket, unless you're in, business or first class, where you get that extra bit of care while you're on the plane. It's just the same for everybody. Hotels are different. They want to provide that level of care. So I think that's one of the reasons they're slow. But I think also within the hospitality industry, we haven't made it really easy to adopt technology. We've worked in silos. So, if you've got a PMS and you want to integrate with other systems, it doesn't happen easily. It doesn't happen automatically, particularly for legacy solutions. It may not even happen at all without a lot of development work on the side of the PMS and the side of, something else, whether it's a payment gateway or, a spa system or a guest app or anything like that. We've seen newer PMSs, the cloud-based like Muse, in particular, leading the way with open APIs and integrations. But yeah, as an industry, we need to move faster to make it easier to adopt our technology.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good point. You mentioned that you help them maximize the return on investment in technology. Obviously now hotels, they really need to focus on driving, maximizing revenue. And so is that easy to make them see how technology can help them drive revenue?
Yeah, I think if you can look at, if you think about the mass and you think, okay, if I can up my ADR by, $1 a day per room, what does that mean over a month? What is, if it's $2, if I'm constantly looking at what's happening, if I'm constantly monitoring my competitors, they've dropped their rates, maybe I'm going to go in line or I'm going to keep mine up. More importantly, I think using technology to understand what might happen. So if you think about retail is really good. If you look at something and you signal intent to buy, we've just got a new puppy. So I've been looking at dog training toys. Now on my Facebook and on my social media, I can't tell you how many ads for dog training toys because I've signaled intent to buy and now they're trying to sell to me. With hotels, we've been very reliant on historical data, same week last year to indicate what might happen. But this year is different. As I said, that guest profile has changed. The behavior to buy has changed. There's a lot of last minute bookings. And also with regulations in terms of travel changing, your feeder markets can change just within minutes based on, travel bans or travel corridors opening up or announcements. We give you a really good example. We monitor hotel search data across the globe. And we noticed last week a spike in Manchester for one, it just spiked on one day. Now, the reason that spike happened was because both Manchester and London announced that the Pride festivals would be taking place in August. So anybody wanting to go to Manchester Pride was suddenly searching for hotels. So as a hotelier, if you're able to monitor that potential demand, you can tap into that straight away. And that's going to increase your occupancy. It's going to increase your revenues. So that's an example of using technology, to better, make more money. Let's face it. That's what we want to do.
Help hotels make more money. Absolutely, 100%. Now, pandemic, we're still getting out of it. So the post-vaccine, hopefully, era very soon. What is your point of view? Optimist, pragmatist? How do you see it?
Optimistic beyond belief. So I joined OTA Insight on the 16th of March last year. That was the day we shut the London office. It's been a tough year. I feel so, for those who've lost loved ones and friends and family, I can't imagine the pain that they're going through. And in terms of, the hospitality sector, we've been one of the hardest hit. We've seen people lose jobs. We've seen people lose their businesses. It's heartbreaking. There's no other word for it. But I am optimistic for the future. I think, humans innately are sociable. We want to be with other people. We want to travel. We want to stay in a hotel and have a lovely meal or go out and have a drink with our friends, with our family. We want to experience things. I was thinking back the other day to 9/11. I remember watching that on television unfold and that plane going into the tower and thinking, we'll never travel again. And for a while, the world thought that, but we adapt. We found a way. Travel changed. We all go through security with our liquids and our laptops, and we take our shoes off. We adapted, and we've done it. And I think, hospitality, we've shown over the last year how resilient and how innovative and inventive this industry is. So I think it's going to come back. It's going to be bigger. It's going to be better. And perhaps more importantly, it's going to be more appreciated. Next time I stay in a hotel, next time I go out for dinner or for a drink, I'm really going to appreciate that experience. I'm not taking any of that for granted again.
Okay, so after a whole year in lockdown almost. Good point. No, love it. Optimistic beyond belief. Wow, nice sentence. Now, I was telling you before, I'd like you to give some sort of advice. So for young people, so imagine, for example, you are 2021, whoever is listening to this, studying hotel management.
Yeah.
And it's like, is it the right choice? Did I get myself the right career? That everybody's like in furlough, a lot of people like losing their jobs. So what kind of advice would you give that young person thinking if they've made the right choice?
I would say you definitely have made the right choice. Even somebody who isn't in hospitality management school at the moment, but is, maybe finishing high school or finishing A-levels and is tempted, seriously think about it. First of all, hospitality, there's so many parts to hospitality, isn't there? It's not just, the front desk at a hotel. There's all the back office stuff. There's the revenue management. There's the operational side. There's the investment side. There's interior design, concierge experiences, events, so many parts to it that you go in, try it, find which bit is a good fit for you. Even if you go into hospitality and you decide after a while it's not for you, you want to do something else, the skills and the experiences that you will have gained are incredibly valuable. They're transferable into any sector. Somebody who's worked at a hotel will have such poise, confidence. They'll be able to go into any environment and be successful. So give it a try. I think, for most people, I think they'll go into it and they'll go, wow, this is what I was meant to be doing. And they'll just blossom in that. And they'll find the niche within hospitality that's the fit for them.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the scope of the industry is so wide, and they should open up their mind. And also educational institutions should help for that. Some of them are still very narrow-minded in terms of the options they give them. So, a lot of institutions, given your experience, are some of them, or are more and more of them, giving a bigger picture of the industry, you think?
Yeah, I think they are. I think, the schools that have real specialized hospitality management courses or campuses. So I'm thinking about Leon, I'm thinking about Stendon, Bournemouth University here in the UK has got a great hospitality management course, Edge in the UK. I've been fortunate, I've lectured a few of these. I've lectured at Leon and Stendon. So I've met the faculty, I've met the students. I've also had some insight into some of the programs. And I think, where the schools work with industry, so where they have internships, placements, they have people from industry like myself going in and talking about technology or talking about operational things. You build that bridge. And that, I think it does two things. It strengthens the ties and gives students a path to a career. But it also helps, to go back to your question, it broadens the curriculum. They get exposure to so many different parts of hospitality.
Which I think is very, very important, especially now because the industry is developing very fast with companies such as OTA Insight. One last question in terms of how do they get that bridge? What kind of profiles will fit into a hospitality technology company? Do they need to come from a hospitality background, more technology side?
Yeah, it's interesting for us, and we're currently growing and we're recruiting. So I've recruited 3 new people to the team in the last probably 5 weeks. Each one of them is very, very different. So some are coming from hospitality tech, some are coming from hotel backgrounds and maybe revenue management, but also some people are coming from things that we wouldn't necessarily think would be a good fit. But, you know, talking about those transferable skills, you know, that aptitude to learn, confidence, the ability to talk and engage with people. If they've got that, we can help them, and we want to help them develop the other skills, you know, to be successful. That's my goal with my team, is to help every one of them be the best that they can be. So that's about capitalizing on their existing skill sets and their knowledge, but also helping them to develop new skills, new knowledge, new ways of thinking, new ways of working to help them be even more successful. So I don't think there's a perfect one size fits all. It's, you know, it's about the people at the end of the day.
Which is the industry we work in, yeah, the industry of people. Perfect. Okay, well, that's all I wanted to ask you. You know, touch on your career, and to for the people to know who is the person behind the role. Basically, that's the whole idea. And with someone with your experience to hopefully inspire young people to get into this industry, yeah? And if they're already considering or part of the industry, to see what can be the next step.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I love chatting to you. And, you know, if anybody wants to chat further, please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. You know, if you're thinking about hospitality as a career or hospitality tech and trying to figure it out, then yeah, do get in touch. Be delighted to chat.
Perfect. Well, thanks a lot.
My pleasure.
Okay, cheers.
Take care.
Bye.
That was all for now. Hope you found it useful. Remember that you have more information on our website www.torresconsulting.co.uk, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and Twitter. Stay well. Goodbye for now.